This is my kit that I bought from Amazon, and I would say that this is the best kit over the other ones that I had some pretty good ones. And a reason being is for $50, and of course I belong to Amazon things, so I don't pay shipping. This thing is beautiful, and it comes with some really good instructions and the software, and you test as you go, as you build. You follow the instructions, which are really good, and then you run the test, and then you build some more, and so on and so forth. The kit comes in this boxes that you saw. It also comes with this is a special Arduino. I have some notes in here. Anyway, you get a little card, and in the card it tells you where to go and download from GitHub all the instructions, as well as the sketches, the test sketches for all these things. And as you can see, there's all kinds of things. They're all wrapped really well. You even get a screwdriver, and there's another one down there which is smaller. So it's really well packaged, and I am very, very pleased what you get for $50. Okay, so let me show you what I assembled. So this is an assembled robot. It comes with these LEDs, but I added this one here because this looked like a face, and I want it to be light up and have a little color changing. And this is basically the distance sensor, ultrasonic, and it's made that it's going to go and stop at 20 centimeters, which is like 6 inches or so. Then it also has an LCD, and I know that under these sliding conditions it's going to be very difficult. Yeah, it's basically impossible, but I customized it. I said, this is Tony's robot. Okay, and then among other things, it comes with a remote, and this is the only robot. Well, I have another one that has these mechanism wheels, and they are a little dirty because I've been running them on the floor. But anyway, if you push this button here, then it will try to go, like this way. And let me shut it off so it doesn't drive. And I'll make a video on the floor at the end. And so these two buttons, this red button and this red button, it basically drifts to the left or to the right. Okay, which is really interesting to watch, because only mechanism wheels can do that. If you have a regular tire, you can turn, but not like this. This can go sideways, forward, backwards, make a curve, whatever you want. When you assemble this, make sure that you are following the instructions and test every step. Be very, very careful. Let me shut this off because it's annoying. When you plugging in these wires, the instructions will tell you the length of the wire, and also look at the color, because if you miswire this, what will happen, it will burn up something on the Arduino. And this is not a standard Arduino controller. This one is based on Arduino, and that was my multimeter that I earlier measured batteries with. Anyway, so make sure that you really pay attention to the colors and the length, which the instructions tells you that plug this in, so on and so forth. Now, the other thing I would strongly recommend that you do is that once you assemble this controller, which is based on Arduino Uno, and that's how you, in the Arduino IDE, the software you can download for free, you basically tell it that you want Arduino Uno, okay? But it has built in all kinds of other controllers, and so I guess I'm going to have to wait until the answering machine picks up. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, and so what I did, first I followed the instructions, and then they'll tell you to do the wiring. And it's very difficult for one simple reason. As you can see, there isn't a whole lot of room. This is the base, so that's this part here. And by the way, this is a sensor that can follow a black line on any contrasting surface. So on this are the motors installed, and the sensor, as I showed you. And then you need to put these standoffs, which are brass. I'm going to show you a shorter version of it. Okay. And as you can see, between the first layer and the second layer, I mean, there isn't a whole lot of room here for you to fish the wires, because you have to put the wires from the 4 motors. You have to put the wires for this sensor, then these 2 LEDs, the green LEDs, and then also the little servo motor, which, by the way, not to change subject, it came with this, I call them El Cheapo, the least expensive servo you can buy. And when I was testing it, as I was building, I very quickly find out that this stopped working for some reason. So I actually replaced it with a Metal Gear mini servo. And the reason I did that is because they are much higher quality. So if you're buying this from Amazon, I would recommend that you go ahead and order yourself some servos, which has a Metal Gear, the small, the micro, the mini, or whatever they call these smaller. I think they're called SG90. Okay, so you're gonna just search for SG90 and then Metal Gears. Okay, and they sell them by 1 piece, or you can buy 10 pieces. A little cheaper if you buy them, like 10 pieces, then it comes to like $2 a piece or so. Okay. So what I learned from assembling it based on the instructions, that the wiring is going to be very difficult. So what I did is I unscrewed these 2 screws, then unscrewed the standoffs that are one here and one here. And so this piece came off, the LED lights. And then there's also 2 screws underneath here that holds the Arduino board to the unit. And once it was loose a little bit, of course, since now only some wires were connected, I was able to fish the wires through between these layers, the top layer, the bottom, the middle layer here, and the bottom. So I was able to put them in a correct place. Most of these wires are fairly short, so there is not much room to wire it the wrong way, and so don't force it. There should be a little bit of leeway in these wires. They cannot be too tight, because they'll fatigue and they'll break inside. So make sure that they are not too tight. And as I said, pay attention to that, to those wires that have these colors. And because some of them are same length, but they don't have the colors correctly used for that particular spot. So if you just go by length, you are not gonna do yourself a service. So make sure you pay attention, look at the instructions, and compare which wire is where, yellow, and then red, and black, and then the ones that have 4 wires also have a yellow or white, yellow, red, and black, like this one is. Because if you miswire it, as I said, it will damage the board. Okay? Alrighty. So the next thing what I would want to tell you is that when you putting this this unit right here, the sensor, the sound distance sensor, onto the micro or mini servo, okay, this one, what you want to do is there is a sketch that tests the turning of this sensor, okay? And so just don't screw it in, don't put a screw in, just put it on loosely, okay, so it's not completely seated, and then run the test and see how far away it turns. Because what happens is that if you put it the wrong way, this thing can run into, you know, these parts in here, and you can damage things. So make sure that when you upload the test file, the test sketch, the first time I don't have this actually on there, and as soon as I hear that motor make some kind of a movement, I immediately shut off this switch. And because what it does in the sketch, it puts it like flat, so you can, you know, so it has so it's facing flat this way, okay? And otherwise, if you put it on at the wrong time, then what will happen is you might damage the servo, or you break something, or run into something and possibly damage something. The other way you can do it is that these servos comes with these little plastic pieces, and what you can do is you can stick that on there instead of the whole sensor, and then run, you know, turn it on, and what will happen is this will show you where it's going to end at, and it should start being in a center. So then once this points this way, you can take it off and then put on this. And I still will not put a screw on. I'll just test it and make sure that it's, when it's turning left and right, that it doesn't run into the board or some other pieces. Okay? Otherwise than that, there is really not much to it, except of course you have to pay attention. The other thing you have to pay attention to is these wheels. You notice that this, do you see how this goes this direction? You know, like that? And then this one is turned this way, right? They have inside these wheels, before you put the screw in here, there is a letter R and a letter L. And you need to follow the instructions, and it tells you where the R goes and where the L goes, okay? Because if you don't have it right, it's not going to run right, okay? I made that mistake. I was just putting it on, and I said, oh, they all look alike, and they do, but they, you know, see, this one goes this way and this one goes this way, and then it wasn't working right. So I learned my lesson. Had to unscrew it and go back to the instructions, because sometimes I make assumptions just like anybody else. I'll make some other videos about this robot and add it to the end, and I also will put more information below the video, just like I always do. So that's good enough for now, and go ahead and have a good time assembling it. If you run into some problems, go back through the manual and or watch the next video also, because what I'll try to probably do is assemble the second one, and maybe you can learn something from that as well. Okay, so what I did is I created a folder in my downloads folder, and I downloaded all these files from the GitHub, as it states on the card, that a little like a business card, and it says get tutorial, and then it's https://github.com//ckk0014. Okay, the model is actually ckk0014. Okay, so that's what you that's how you start. Now this video is going to be a longer, for one simple reason, is because I'm going to record the whole thing in little segments. Okay, so the first thing I did is I took the package, opened it up, and I took all these parts out. Okay, the next thing I did is I took off all this plastic stuff. Some people like to use a tape to start it. This was the original tape there, and it happens to, you know, go off, peel off pretty nice. The other way you can do it is you can just use your fingernail and start it a little bit like that, and then you can peel it off quite easy. Okay, and there we go. So all these black parts you see here, here, this large one, which is the main body, and then this is for the LCD display, which is over here, and that's 8286 Model 1. There are 4 identical motors, so I'm going to put them on the side right here because it's just taking too much space. Now, I mentioned that when you're putting these wheels on, you really have to pay attention to the instructions, and they tell you where to put L. So as you can see, some of this, all of these wheels have R or L, and it will tell you where the R goes and where the L goes. So there's 2 of L's and 2 of R's. Then it comes with this little bag, but it has these black pieces, and basically the way it works is you take this black part like this one here, I just put it like that, and then it goes inside the wheel like that. You push it a little bit, and then that long bolt from this bag, it even tells you what it is for. Okay, coupling and screws of the mechanism wheel, and then that long screw goes through here and ends up in the motor. So basically this motor is going to be then attached like this, and that screw tightens it to the shaft, so it doesn't come off, okay, or become wobbly. As you can see, I pulled this off, and that piece fits much more snugly in here rather than here, but that's not that big of a deal. Okay, it also comes with a screwdriver, a much smaller one, and this little handy little wrench where you hold the nuts with it. And as you can see, very small, and this one is even smaller. Okay, now here are those wires that I've probably mentioned as well, and what you do is there are 2 identical, let's see, where's the other one? There's 2 identical wires that have, if you look at this, if you look at these like that, see, in here yellow starts on that side and then red black, but over here is yellow red black in reverse, so they don't match. So you have to be very careful where goes what, okay? And otherwise than that, you'll be okay. But as I said, it's you have to pay attention to the wires where they go. So they should be the same end to the same end. So you have yellow, red, black. When you're holding this with these shiny little three copper or whatever they are, not copper, brass ends, okay? And this plugs into these sockets. Now I know that these actually go into here, so I will put this and plug it in and make sure that the other green LED, okay, is same thing. And they are nice and snug, by the way. So now we have both of these LEDs wired basically, and as you can see, they match. They have a yellow, red, black, yellow, red, black when you facing the back side of it, okay? And so now I have two less wires to worry about. So they are the same length, and they have the same ends. Don't if they don't, just flip it over. Okay, so that's that. And then you are left with three more wires. This one is the longest one. This one is the widest mid-size, and this one is the shortest one. Okay, and we'll get to them. And then you also get this plastic bag that has more plastic bags inside. And this is where the different screws are. Look at how tiny. Look at how tiny these are, and they are 1.6 millimeter by 10 millimeter long. So it's really, really small. I wish there was another way around it. Then these things are the standoffs. Okay, so you have this package, and two more that have the standoffs. Okay, there's two different types of little nuts. These nuts are self-locking. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but the way you can tell is that there is a little round ring, like elevated above the where the wrench would go. Okay. Then the regular nuts, they look like this. They are not self-locking, and it again tells you where they go and all that. Okay. So for now, I'm not going to open any of these. I'm just going to put them over here, so I know I have them. Then here are some bolts. Again, tells you, you know, what it's used for, and same as these and these. Okay, and then you have spacers. Again, it will tell you where to put the spacers. Okay, and they gave you a couple extra, so if one rolls away from you. This here is the custom controller. Now, it's based on Arduino Uno, but they've added some other chips, and as you can see, and then they added all these extra basically pins, let's call them for now, and the so this controller doesn't have to have another controller sitting on the top. So this is a custom design. I tried to find out if they have any name on it that I can look up on the internet in case that I burn one up, that you know, that I can buy a replacement, but I don't see one. Now, this socket right here is for the 8266, which is this guy with these little legs or pins sticking out. It's not focusing very well. There we go. Okay, and that plugs in once you start putting this together, then as you can see, there's this line right here, and it tells you that the ESP8266 is going this direction, not on that side. Okay, goes this way. There's a little antenna. What is 8266 is basically a Wi-Fi. Okay, very inexpensive Wi-Fi. Now on this side, this is where the motors go, the 4 motors. Okay, and let me get my eyes because I can't see very good. They are marked as M1, M2, M3, and M4. Okay, and again, in the instructions, they're pretty clear of where goes what. Okay, so the motors are already pre-wired, as you can see, with the socket, and then the socket goes in as follows. Okay, and again, it's a pretty good snug fit. So that's where those goes. And then these other ones, they go for the LEDs. One goes for this, which is the, let's see, this one has 4 pins. That's a 5-pin. And I think this longer wire goes in there. It has it goes like that, I think. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and assume that you downloaded the instructions, read through it once, so you can kind of have an idea what's happening and what will happen, step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on and so forth. And take that that instruction set, if you need to print it out so you have a piece of paper, if you just have one screen, one monitor, and print it out, and then it's easier than to do it that way. It's up to you. I'm gonna go ahead and display it on a screen, and then I just flip-flop between this video recording and the instructions. Now I'm in a folder that's main, and then ckk0014, and so tutorials is right here, and what you want to do is you want to open that file. Okay, once you go inside the tutorial, you're gonna get all these different files and folders. Okay, and the beauty about this, the way they set it up, is that you want to start with the lowest number lesson and then go to the next one and next one and next one. Okay, so after you read that first file over here, then there's not much to it. You're gonna open this file right here, which is number 1, and then it says what it is, which is, you know, tutorial. And then what happens is you can open it up with a browser, you know, internet browser, or if you have a PDF reader using that program, it's fine. Basically, this file here goes through and explains even how the wheels goes. They call them wheel A and a wheel B, but it's basically it should be R and L, at least on mine. They have L and R, left wheel and right wheel. Okay, scroll down after you read everything. I would just, as I said, once read everything. Scroll down to this page right here, and the next page that shows you which wire goes where. Okay, on this side. When you scroll to the next page, why don't I just go there? Okay, on the next page it just shows you where those 2 green LED wires goes, and then the circular 12-point LEDs. These are addressable, which means you can program them, and they are pre-programmed, so I don't think you're gonna have a problem. And then here are the motors. It tells you which motor goes where. Okay, then you open up this document, and that's the first lesson. And then this will basically teach you how to install the Arduino IDE, which is the free program that allows you to download for free this program, of course, and then there are steps how to install it. If you run into some issues, reread it, because it is really straightforward. And make sure that that you follow all the steps. Don't skip through some of the steps. Once you're done with step number 1 lesson, you go to the second lesson, and this one talks about the controller. Okay, this is about the buzzer that's built on the controller board itself. It is hard to kind of see where that buzzer is because it's so small, but it is located nearby the it's above the 4 motor controllers, where all the 4 motors goes, and then there's a socket on the top that has 5 pins, and it's to the left of it. So that little tiny thing is the buzzer. This one is just an explanation of the servo, and it says to adjust it to 65 degrees. Basically, if you put that little, which I'll show later on, that little plastic, it looks like a cross piece that fits on top of the servo, you basically want to have it flush or going the same direction as the front of the robot. Okay, and this one is how to test those 2 green LEDs. As I said, on all of these, please go through all what's recommended there, and then do not skip any steps. This step will explain how to do the test for the ultrasonic sensor, which sends a sound from one of the round things on that sensor, and the other thing is a receiver, and basically bounces in a sound that you cannot hear off of a wall or some kind of a obstacle, and it would stop the robot from going, forward. The way you can test how far it sees or doesn't see, just you can use your hand up front of it and go like maybe 5-6 inches from the sensor, and then see what kind of a numbers you're gonna see, and then move your hand farther out, and it should increase. When you go closer to the sensor, the number should decrease. It's measuring in centimeters. Another test you're going to run is the WS2812 LED module. That is that small circular little thing that has 12 LEDs on it, and they are called 2812 because they are programmable. You can make them green, blue, red, and other colors mixed, of course. Anyway, and the other thing you're doing by following all these steps before you start building it, you're testing individual parts. And if you have a problem, you have to stop and try to figure out where you made a mistake, or maybe there's some defective parts sometimes too, so be aware of that. This will test a sensor that has 3 pairs of they call them infrared reader and infrared sender. Infrared is invisible to our eyes. Snakes could see it, but we can't. And it's the only one that has 5 wires, and you cannot plug that into anywhere else but into that one 5-wire plug on the motherboard, the controller, the Arduino, and it's above the motor plugs where the 4 motors goes. Okay, but again, go through every one of these steps and make sure that you follow the steps. Okay, we're getting there. This is number 9. You're gonna test that. It's called the LCD 1602. What does that mean? It's that one unit that has it's a long rectangular thing that has one plug on one end for 4 wires, and this basically displays something that you're gonna learn how to type it in. Otherwise, it just puts in a default message. But you can learn more about this LCD display, it's not color, but it only has one color, so I don't know what they included in yours, but it doesn't matter because it just changes the text, the color of the text, and then it has also a backlit, so you can actually see what it says. Okay, we are number 10, so we're definitely going downhill because there's only a few more to go. This one tests the motors, the 4 motors. It also tells you where to plug in into that controller, or the Arduino as they call it, and also it explains, just like the other ones, the sketch is like the program, the code as it's also known as. And so if you want to learn all that, that's fine. If you want to skip those because it doesn't make any sense to you, some of that code explanation, all that, you can learn that later. Okay? And this one is easy. You're testing the infrared remote controller, which is that little rectangular thing that it's in a plastic, so you have to open it up and take there is a little plastic sticking out on one end. You have to pull that out, otherwise the battery will not have a contact. That plastic keeps the battery in good shape. So it takes sometimes to ship these things, and then before they are sold, and some people then don't right away use it. So if that plastic piece wasn't there, it would discharge the battery probably a little bit faster. So I would at this point take it out of this plastic container and then pull out that plastic, and you can save it and stick it back in again if you're not going to use it for a while. And again, it explains all the things about it. And finally, we are getting to the point, it's a 12th step, how to assemble this wonderful robot, and there are some parts list, and so you can keep track of what goes where and what sizes to use, like in the screws and nuts and so on and so forth. So this one is the one that we're going to basically go through. Okay, when you're done, this is how it's going to look like. So this is the step that I'm going to follow, and then I'm going to record it how I'm doing it, and so you can see live video basically, how I did it. But make sure that you put it exactly as it's shown. For instance, earlier I mentioned that there are 2 types of nuts. There are self-locking nuts and then regular nuts. You want to use the taller ones, the ones that have kind of like a little extra ring on top of the one side, and the side that goes towards the plastic is the flat part, and then little ring kind of a looking thing, that goes to the outside. Okay, so don't flip it round because it'll be hard to start the nut anyway, because there's a little rubber ring, and that ring basically is slightly smaller than the bolt itself or the screw, and once you tighten it, it basically resists the vibrations that normal nuts would loosen up by themselves and fall off. Finally, we start putting parts together. So what you want to do is you want to get yourself the longest piece of plastic. By the way, it doesn't matter if you put it in this way or if you put it in this way, because it's symmetrical design. So in this case, doesn't matter. Okay? Then you get yourself one of these brackets and then hold it on top of these holes. And instead of using 4 screws, we are going to only use 2 screws diagonally. Okay? Just like as the instructions is demonstrating, if you are looking at that step. So I put the screw in. I open up this bag that says M3 self-locking nut 10 pieces, and it's 3 millimeter by 20 thread, and there are and there are these 4 standoffs. and then we'll show you later on how to use those. So I'm going to grab this self-locking nut and then put it on top of the bolt or the screw. I don't even know for sure what's proper is bolt, because it has a thread. So I just started it, and to the point where if I turn it, this bolt would be, you know, turning as well. And now diagonally we're going to use this one next. By the way, these screws are 3 millimeters M3 and 10 millimeters long, and there's 36 pieces. I'm going to just go ahead and dump the piece of plastic, and let's go ahead and put this bolt or screw through that hole. So now you have diagonally 2 screws, and flip it over again, get the self-locking nut and tighten it as far as you can with your fingers. And this is where you're going to need this little wrench. Use the larger size, of course, and then put it like this. And on the other side you use a screwdriver and you tighten it. Don't make it really hard because you'll crack the plastic, okay? And we'll do the second one. Do it snug, but not like, don't over tighten it. Plastic has tendencies to crack, and once it cracks you can lose this piece, okay? Okay, so I put that one there. Now let's go ahead and put on the second one. Now here's a little trick that you can put this screw in before you put it through this plastic piece, okay? And then I put my finger behind, and then get one of these self-locking nuts again and screw it in. As you notice that, let's see, this, let's see, come on, there we go. This nut, do you see how it looks different on one side? This is the top of the nut where there is this little like a ring, and the bottom of that nut has these little square, you know, it's square, doesn't have a round thing to it. Okay, so tighten it by hand, and again we're going to use diagonally, and then the nut goes on the other side. Now since you mastered this part, I'm going to skip these 2 on the back because they are identical to these, okay? So this is how it looks once all 4 of them are, these right angle back brackets are installed. And now there is a time to install the motors. Now you have to be careful. One side of the motor has this little thing sticking out, okay? It's basically used to make the motor so it's not moving like this, even though there's 2 screws and they will hold it pretty well. And so what you do is you take the motor, and put it like this, put it like that, so this little yellow, little stick out thing I don't know, nipple or whatever, is on this side. And then we need to get these longer screws, which are the ones called M3 times 25. There's 9 of those, and you're using 2 per motor. There's only 2 holes through the motors. Okay, let's go ahead and sometimes these plastic bags are really difficult to open. Alrighty, so, and then we're gonna also need the nuts, and this is the time when you want to 3 times M3 times 8, the 18 pieces of short screws and the nuts. And we are after the nuts right now. We are not going to use the little bolts that they are there. I tell you, opening one of these is like pulling teeth. I think I'm done trying. I'm just going to cut it, and I'm going to dump it here on the right side. I apologize for the phone ringing. Okay, so when you have this lined up correctly, then you can stick this long bolt through the little hole. Okay, and once you have it like this, just hold it. Take one of these little nuts and then put it on top. Then I tighten it up just loosely, putting the second long bolt in its place. Take another regular nut and put it on top. And what I do is I line it up with the bolt on that side, but I push it out with holding it with my finger, and then I go backwards a little bit, and then I go forward, and that way it catches the thread better. Okay, and again you're going to need this little wrench to tighten it. And I'll be back when I have all 4 of them installed. And now it's time to take out the standoffs. The shortest ones are these. Then, and there's quite a few of those. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 of those. There's 4 of the next size, 4 of the next size, and then there's the 4 of the longest ones. And those are the ones we're going to use, M345, okay? 45 millimeter long, and it's an M3 thread. These 2 shortest standoffs goes to the holes that are farther apart. These 2 holes later on will receive the modular, which is, it's not that one. Where did I put it? Somewhere around here. Oh, here it is. This modular here, it's the only one that has 5 wires, is later on screwed in like this, and this is where we're going to use those spacers, those white nylon spacers. Okay. So now, how do you install these standoffs, and where do they go? So on this narrow side, the 2 shorter ones go. Okay, see, they're the shortest, and for those you have to use these little shorter screws And for the next 2, 4, 6, 8, you're going to use these longer ones, the ones you probably have the most of at this point in one pile. Okay, right there. Again, tighten it, but don't overdo it, because especially in these corners, it can break off, and you're going to have a problem. It doesn't glue very well because it's plastic. So that's your next step. So these studs goes, or standoffs, goes the same direction as the motors are. Okay. So now you grab the sensor, have the wire pointing to the right, and then put this white spacer on the top of one of the holes. Okay, doesn't matter if you start this one or that one. And then I put one of the countersink bolt, which is, it looks like this. Okay. There's only 3 of them in this package, and so they gave you one extra one, and I'm going to use 2 of them. I'm sorry, I already have one over there. So now I'm holding it with my finger like that, and then I go over and put it like this, and then find the hole, and now I am through. Now I switch fingers, and now I have this bolt or screw sticking out, and what you do is you just take a normal nut and put it on top and try to start it, and if it doesn't start, you can always push it to the other side, just like I showed you on the previous video, and then put this screw like that. With my thumb, I'm holding the nut, and then the screw basically screws into it. Do not tighten it, because you need to put in one more screw and one more spacer. So how do you do that? So first, I'm gonna put the screw in about that far. I have these handy dandy little pliers, and I'll hold it gently, and I'll stick it in. There we go. Line up the bottom, the hole, and take a nut, put it on top. Again, I push it out, and then I screw it in. There we go. So now I hold the nut with between my fingernails and tighten it, but I'm not trying to like do it really hard, but it has to just be tight, but not too tight, because this is close to the edge, and if that breaks off, you're gonna have to do all kinds of things instead of, you know, continuous the model. So now we have that installed like that. I have the wire here, which is fine, doesn't have to be plugged in, but I do. That's what I did. Okay, so it looks like this. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna grab this piece. Again, you can flip it this way or this way, it doesn't matter, it's symmetrical. Then what you do is you screw it on a front, this is the front actually where the sensor is, so that's considered the front. And then you just put 2 screws in here, and this time I'm using the longest one, which I have a bend end on. Okay, so that's this part. The next part you're gonna do is also fairly easy. You grab yourself this plastic and the LCD display, stick it through the hole like that, and make sure that this thing is facing away from you on this side, not on this side, but on this side. Otherwise you'll have your LCD display upside down, and which might not be a bad idea, but I'm gonna just do it the way the instructions are telling me to do. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take the longer screws again, and then we need to use a spacer, that white spacer, put it between one corner, put it like that. Okay, so it goes from the surface through the little white ring spacer, and now we need a nut. So we use these flat nuts again, and this time I'm just going to start the nut, but I'm not going to tighten it or anything, because I want to put in the other spacers. So as you can see, you can just kind of give it a little pressure, hold it together like squeezing it like this, and then get that spacer nearby the hole, and then wiggle this wiggle it until it gets through, just like that. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and put in one knot and started it just a little bit. So this whole thing is still very loose, as you can see. I can go do this, okay? Now, next to the last one, again, squeeze it. I'm pinching it a little bit. And then I'm going to put this bolt through again, a knot. And we just have to do this one more time. That's if I wasn't dropping things. I'm pretty sure that in my age that dexterity is not helping in this case, but since I cannot start that one, I'll just took it out and just squeezed it a little bit. Alright, and then here goes the last one. Again, line it up with the hole. Take a screw or a bolt. I don't know how you're gonna call it. It's up to you. And the last fourth nut. Okay, and now we tighten, and again, be very careful when you tighten this, because there's a very small wall here, and this will blow out like you will not believe. So I'm just holding the nut by hand. I'm not using the wrench, and I tighten it as much as I can just using my fingernails or my tip of my fingers. Alright, let's do the third one and the last one. Okie dokie, so it should look like this. Okay? Now make sure that this piece cannot be reversed this way. It has to be this way. This holds the battery pack, and then make sure that the leads are on the top, and then line up the holes, and you're going to use these two holes and these two holes, okay? And they want you to install it. The instructions tell me to use a countersink screws. Okay, so there's a countersink screw. Let me see if it's magnetic. Yeah, it is magnetic. Alright. So I'm going to put it in one corner, and we need a nut. I tighten it very lightly so I can line up the other holes. So we're going to get another countersink screw, and this time it's a good idea to have a magnetic screwdriver. Makes it much easier. And we'll get a nut. Okay, and you can also use a little dandy little plier like this one, and now I can tighten it. Yeah, let's do this corner. Now we need to take 2 more screws. I like to have all four corners screwed, so I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. As you can see, it goes in a little tight, that's which is okay. And then take a nut, put it here. There we go. Once it starts, it's easy. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it. You can use the little wrench that it came with, or if you have little needle nose pliers or some little thing like this. And then we'll take a last one and put it in this hole. There we go. Now we'll use this nut. Now this one I tighten a little more than the other ones, but not by much, because again, this plastic here is close to the edge, the holes, and that can break. You don't have to put anything in these 2 holes. Sometimes people just put in the 2 screws, but I don't know. I like the corners because when you're putting in batteries, there's quite a bit of pressure, because these things have springs as well as they are. You see the side here that holds the battery, so it doesn't the battery doesn't fall out. Okay, so it should look like this. Next step is you're going to take the battery holder with the wire going away from you, okay, that way, and then in the back over here, do you see right there, there's 2 holes, 2 square holes. This piece, do you see this stuff, goes in there like that, and it's going to be a little loose, which is okay, because it's going to get secured also with this piece sticking out. And then you take your LED display, okay, and this LED is gonna get screwed. Let's see, wire. It's gonna get screwed like this. So these 2 studs or standoffs are gonna be receiving the nuts, and then this hole here is for that tongue that was on the battery holder. Okay, so then you secure it like this. and then just take 2 screws. I'm using the longer ones because I have more of the longer ones, and in here it's not going to matter. And go ahead and screw it in. And get another one. And again, be careful when you're screwing it in. And then 2 more screws go in this hole and that hole into the longest standoff, or whatever you're gonna call it. So let's go ahead and put screw there. Okay. The next one goes here, and we are done with this part. Again, tighten it so you don't break this off. And now the battery is little like loose because there aren't any screws from here, you know, to hold the battery back, and that's normal. So if it wobbles a little bit, it's fine because it's held in by these 2 openings and one on the top. And if you don't like that it wobbles a little bit, you can put some kind of a foam or something on here and the other side and stuff it in, but I don't really care. It's not going to hurt anything. So it should look like this. Okay. And let's go to the next step. Next step would be is you take this longest piece you have left and put in these studs or these standoffs, and you're going to use the longest one you have left. Do not use these short ones, okay? See how much longer that is, you know? So make sure that you use the longest one. If you measure it, I think it's 20 or 30 millimeters, whatever. But it's much longer than those little ones that are left, okay? And the next step is to put a stepper in. And this is what it came with. It comes with the wired stepper, has these little pieces that we're going to use. And there are some screws that then screw that bracket this way, okay? But I'm not going to use this one. I haven't had good luck with these in past, so what I'll do is I bought one that is metal gears, so it's still the same model. Let me see, what do they call it here again? So it's MG90S with metal gears, okay? And I've had very good luck with these. The only problem is that on this one, the wire isn't coming, these 3 wires are not coming out of the bottom here, but they are coming on the side. So it's a little bit more difficult to put that in. And the way it goes in is, so you fish this wire through, and then there's this little notch over here. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. So what I do is it's right in the center. So I put it like this in a little angle, and then I squeeze it until it goes in. So it's kind of a, there we go. So I put this wire sideways. As you can see, it's twisted a little bit like that instead of being like that. And just be careful when you do this so you don't damage this wire here, okay? Because that's really easy to pinch it off and tear the wires inside, okay? So it goes like this. The wire I think the wire goes this way. Let me check. Let me just make sure. Yeah. It does go this way. Okay. Alright. Now, this is where the second smallest screws and the little nuts come in play. So they gave you 1, 2, 3, 4 little 1.6 millimeter screws with 4 nuts, and trust me, I dropped these things, and even though I have tiled floors, I couldn't find it. So I tried to be above the table. I have my fat belly over here against the table, so I'm gonna go ahead and dump these and dump that baggie. I'll put all these on one pile. Okay, and I'm gonna take this little tiny screw, and by the way, this is why they supply this little screwdriver, so you can actually tighten it. The screw goes through, and then you need to take that little tiny nut which I'm having a hard time. I'm going to put it over here, so if I lose it, hopefully won't roll too far. And with my dexterity, oops, and there it went. With my dexterity, it is next to impossible. Oops, there it goes. It is not easy. Almost. Okay, I'm going to try to hold it with these little pliers. I absolutely despise these little tiny things. It's really difficult to, as you can see. I think what I'm going to do is stop the video. Okay. There we go. Wow, look at that. I put that nut on there, and now I'm just screwing it, and I'm going to tighten it just a little bit because we still have to do this one. So again, you take one of these really tiny 1.6 millimeter. There we go. And we need the nut. Again, just grab it, put it right on the tip of the this little plier. The reason being is you don't have much room between the screw and between the side of this, because it's so close. Oops. Okay. I'm going to stop it now. Continue later. So I put that servo in, tighten up those 2 threads, 2 screws. Then I put this plastic piece in here, and then I screwed these 4 screws into these standoffs. Okay, so I'm sorry, not into standoffs. These screws are not these. These are, they go through, and this has to face closest to the front, and then these have to face upwards, these standoffs. Okay, the next thing you want to do is you want to open up this bag for the mechanism wheels, and you're gonna get 4 of these, and then you get 4 of these longer screws. Let me dump this plastic here. I'm going to put those longer screws over here because I can do only one at a time. And I'm going to switch my screen and find out which goes where. So here is how they go, L and R and so on and so forth. So I'm going to take an L, which is this here, and it says that this is the front, that the L goes up here. Now that's where we're going to put it. There we go. And then you put a screw right there and tighten it. When you tighten it, don't overdo it again, but make sure you tighten it enough that this does not go up and down, okay? And then the R goes right here, so this one has the letter R, so that's gonna go here. That one was easier. Again, we're gonna stick one of these little screws in. Okay, flip it, and R goes towards the front. So we're going to put an R there. You have to line up this. You see there's a little slot, and that slot has to go right there. So it's probably easier if you put these on first and then put the wheel on. And there we go. Next to the last one. Okay, and then this one you don't have to worry because that's the only wheel left. Now, one thing I want to mention is that this wire, which these wires feed the LCD display, there's 2 wires, the black and the red are plus minus, and the other 2 are data wires. As you can see, this kind of sits right above this motor, and these wires are difficult. So what you want to do is you want to put them flat and stick them right like that. Just use fingernails very, very gently, so you don't accidentally damage these wires over here. Okay? And now we're going to go ahead and put on the remaining wheel, which is, as it says over here, is L. And that's where it should be. Let me just do it the way I did it earlier. That's easier. There we go. Okay, and last screw. So it should look like this. Do you see how this angle and that angle are different? So is here. This angle and this angle. Okay? Now we have the motors. So this is the two motors. This one is the other side, two motors. So we have all four wires. And they need to go up into this area right here because the controller board is going to sit like this. And so putting those wires into these little connectors, that would not work if you were going this direction. So what I do is you get yourself some tweezers like I did, and I'm going to take this first motor there we go, and fish it this way. Now these wires are going to be much longer than they need to be, but then afterwards I can put them down. The other thing you can do is you can fish them through this hole here, and maybe I should have done that earlier. It will make the wire shorter. There we go. There we go. And then bring it over here. There we go. And then they will go like this into the controller. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the wire, not too tight, and I'm going to put it on the left side of the stud, okay, of these standoffs, okay, like that. For now I'm going to take that wire and hide it here. Now we're going to take the motor on the right side, and again I'm going to go through that hole here in the middle, and I'm going to put it like that. Actually they're going to come this way anyway, but okay. Yeah, now we'll wire the other two motors. So again we'll just take these wires, okay. And the last one, let's see, where's the last one? Last one is right here. Okay, so now we have those wires there. Now the next one I want to fish through here is this wire right here. And let me see if I have some space in here. Okay, and then we have the servo, and the servo I'm going to put it through here and hopefully grab it like that. There we go. Okay, so the servo is also through here. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, so the next thing I did is, after mounting this piece, of course, I went and put in these standoffs, the shortest ones, and then I secured them with screws. Of course, the two more screws are on the bottom on both sides. These wires are identical, this one and then the second LED. This is just a green LED, and it can pulse and stuff like that, and I will just put them on a side like this. Now I'm going to deviate a little bit. What I did is I mounted the ultrasonic sounding over here with a very small screw and a nut. It comes with like 4 of them, but you only use 2. There's no holes for the other ones. The other thing I did is I put this little cross. As you can see, it's really hard to see, but basically don't get the one that's just straight. Get the one that has the little cross piece in the middle. Okay. And the reason I did that is because after I put here the controller, then I will do the wires, and then putting this ultrasonic sensor here is going to be one of the last things I'm going to do. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so that's the controller. I put that ESP8266 over here. It points this direction. You can see a little antenna on the top. Then you open the bag. That there are 3 of these standoffs. One is extra, so I'm just going to need the 2. And then for now I'm going to need 2 screws. The rest of them I'm going to go ahead and put them over here. And I'm going to put these here to my left, because I am not going to mount these screws yet and hold this down, because it's very difficult to fish the wires through. Okay, so I'm going to do the easiest ones first. So this left LED, green LED, snaps into, there's 2 places you can put it, but it goes to the one that's below. Plug that one in. Then I grab the other side, and it's the same thing. It goes to the bottom. Now, power cord. And the power, I'm going to have to fish this between here and here. go. So there it is. Grab my tweezers. And pull this wire. Like that. And I want this wire to be to tuck it in so this wheel isn't going to rub on it, okay? So I don't know if you can see that, but basically it might rub a little bit, but that's all I can do here. I cannot wire it any other way. Okay, so the battery goes, the power supply or battery goes into this this port right here. Let's see, what did I do? That's front, that's the back. So this goes like that. There's only two wires, black and red. Okay, so we have that. This is the main switch on and off, by the way. Okay, so we have that wired. The next thing is this big socket, and it goes, there's only one socket that has 5 ports on it, or 5 wires, and that goes right here in the back. Okay, so we have the power, we have the 2 LEDs, which I'm going to then put the wire like that so it doesn't rub over here, and so is on the other side. And now the next step would be to go ahead and wire the 4 motors. Okay, so we have four wires that have these white connectors. They don't fit anywhere else but here in the back. And I need to look at the schematic, which motor goes where. So I'll be right back. So at this point, I plugged in all the wires as per instructions. The power wire goes here where the main switch is. Then there are 2 plugs over here, connectors. The bottom one goes to the right side, green, and then this wire that has four wires, it goes to the LCD display. This wire is the one from the servo, and I fished it through, and the top brown wire, and I'm sorry, let me get my glasses. I think I just flipped this one. This wire has brown, which is ground, so it's going to be on the bottom, and then the middle one is going to be plus, and the top one is the data wire. And data wire on the servo is always this kind of a yellowish orangish wire. The red one is in the middle, which is plus, and the brown one is ground. So that goes over here. Now about the motors, okay? So if you look at on the instructions, what goes where? Let me go ahead and go to that page. So as the board faces this direction, okay, this first motor, which is the farthest corner here, is right back wheel. Okay, so this one actually goes to here. The one next to it is left back wheel. The next one is right front, and then left front is the closest to here. By the way, make sure that you switch this switch to off position, which is towards the edge of the board, because that turns this on, and when you're uploading things through the USB port, which is this over here, it will not upload. So if you can't upload, make sure you have this switch turned off, and so is the power switch. Okay? So what are we going to do next? The other wires are, which I already mentioned. This is the top one is for the LCD display. This here on the corner next to the reset button, or below the reset button, powers and controls these LEDs, and that's held together by two little screws and nuts on the back. And then this thing that has 4 wires, red, yellow, white, and black from left to right, is connected to this one here on the left side. Otherwise than that, this one of course goes to the front LED, just like the bottom here goes to the right LED, and that's it. Now, why did I left it like this is because when I was fishing those wires through, I wanted to make sure that I can see what I'm doing, and it makes it also easier instead of using tweezers and frustrate myself. You know, I did it this way. So this is where I still don't have this tested or even installed, because I want to do it my way, which I learned from my already assembled project. So the next thing is to shove these wires away so it does not, how would I say this, so there's no wires sticking out somewhere, so it looks like kind of a mess. So I like to put these wires inside these standoffs. So and then the ones on the left side, and there's 2 on the other side. And once I have them somewhat hidden, I'm going to put this one over here, and these wires over there. Okay, and then we have this wire, which I'd like to put it behind here. So I'm putting behind this standoff, I'm putting it behind that, so that way the wire goes like that, and then it's not going to be interfering here. And then I push these wires in, and then we're going to line up this, and I'll take a screw and I think that the studs goes in the back, so let's grab those studs or standoffs and put it in here. I'm gonna move it here so you can see what I'm doing. So this is the back, that's the front, and this standoff, that 3 came in the package, you only need 2 of them, goes towards the back. So I don't tighten them too hard, I just twist my fingers very lightly, because I still need to put 2 screws over here. So I'm going to grab 2 screws and a screwdriver, and let's go ahead and screw this in. And we'll screw this screw. Now I tighten it. I'm going to tighten up this a little bit. Not very hard, but hard enough that it stays put. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this LED, and these cut off corners goes this direction, which is the front, and 2 screws go here. So let's take one one more. Again, don't over tighten it. So at this point you should have this loose and all this should be looking like this. It's beautiful. $50, very good price, especially for the mechanism wheels. That's really something. And it has a LCD display as well. Okay, so now we're gonna do something which is called the programming, and we're gonna do some tests that especially the servo test. I want to make sure that that servo test is positioned the correct way. So that's our next step. Okay, what I did is I uploaded a program through the USB cable that plugs right here, and that program is called servo, or a test servo. Let me just make sure. 2.1 or 2_1 servo test.ino, and it's one of the files that is in the folder that is called sketches. Then what I did is I turned this button, this main power on after first I unplugged the USB cable, and then I turned it on, and what it did, it went like this, a little crooked. And so then I ran the whole test, and I had to adjust it by shutting this off first, lifting it up a little bit, and then turn it a little bit over this way. And after I did that a couple times, now it is going from corner to corner. So this is successful test. So now I can go ahead and take the screw and put it inside. I mean, you know, screw in the screw. And, come on, there we go. Okay, it doesn't want to go this way in, so let's get a longer screwdriver and see if we can. Okay, so tighten that good enough, then test it, make sure that we did not knock it accidentally to one side or the other. Okay, so I turn the switch off, and we're going to go ahead and test some other things. So I'm going to plug in the USB cable. You hear a little ding, okay, and at this point whatever is loaded is going to do this. So let's go ahead and upload another test, and I'm going to go ahead and close a couple of windows I had open, and we're going to do close this window, open up my browser, and we're going to go ahead and let's test the buzzer. So there's two tests for buzzer. One ends with the word test, and the other one with the word sing. So I'm going to go ahead and double click that. Sing, the first one. I mean the buzzer first, buzzer test. And I'm going to upload it. And it's complaining. That's because I need to tell it what board I have. So I have a COM port 9 and then Uno in the board's name, and then select it and hit OK, and now if I upload it, it should work just fine. Now this is very faint. I'm picking this up, so maybe the microphone will pick it up, but it's really faint. So I'm going to go ahead and upload the other one, which is the Sing. Let's see if this one gets a little louder. Upload that. Oh, I didn't like the board again, so I'll just have to uno, hit OK, and go ahead and upload. Done compiling. There we go. This one is a little louder, but it is. They should have put a bigger buzzer, because this is really faint. So, oh well. Okay, let's go ahead and upload a light, which is, if you go down the list, you can, it is called 3_1_light_LED, and again we have to tell it what board we have and what COM port is it on. And as you can see, maybe let me just make sure that you can see what I'm doing. Here we go. What happened to the camera? Focus, buddy. Focus, Microsoft. So this tests these two green LEDs. Okay? And basically you go through all of those, and you're gonna test one by one everything from top to bottom. And if you have some problems, I might be able to help you, but if you just basically look at what you're doing, and you're gonna you did everything correctly, you should not run into problems. Okay, so I'm gonna stop for now. I'm gonna see if I can pick something more substantial to test this. So I uploaded a sketch that tests this sensor. When you need to leave it plugged in, because whenever you open up a serial monitor, the computer, the Arduino, which is this controller, talks back to the computer. Okay, so what you do is on the Arduino itself, you're going to go up to the top where it says Tools, and then click Serial Monitor. Okay, and let me go ahead and let's see if I can turn on. That's not it. Video capture should be here. Alright, let's go ahead and add window capture, and I want to add Arduino and hit OK. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my hand closer and closer and closer, and you see on the left bottom corner the numbers change. If you're getting zeros or some one big number and it never changes, then something you didn't do something right. Okay, so make sure that you can do this, because once you run one of the final programs, what happens is that this sensor detects something about this far, 6 inches or so, and then it stops, and then it turns, and it basically lets the unit know that there's an obstacle. Alrighty, so let's see. let's see, where did I do video capture? Okay, so we are back to here, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the Arduino software, and I'm going to quit the program. So I go to a browser and go to that folder where you have all these sketches. It should be in tutorials folder. And let's see, line tracking, I don't want to do that. LCD display, let's do LCD display. Okay, so set up the board. It's an Uno on a port 9, but yours might be different. And I'm going to go ahead and hit upload. And once it's uploaded, there you go. There you see the text. It says hello world and then hello COKOINO exclamation mark on both of them. So I don't know if you get to see that under these lighting conditions, because they are kind of invisible. Now you cannot see it. Well, you know what I can do? I can turn the lights off. And let's see if you can see it. Nope, it washes it out. Oh well, no big deal. Okay, so this display should say something. If your test didn't go through, again, check your wiring, check your sketch, make sure you uploaded it correctly, and continue making other tests. I uploaded a program called Motor Test, and it should spin the wheels this way, all 4 of them, and it goes just once. So you flip the switch on, and that's it. So that's all it does. That's all it needs to do. So no big deal. Okay, it's just a test, making sure that all 4 wheels are spinning the same direction. Okay, now upload a sketch that says infrared tester, and what you're going to do is take this out of the plastic bag, and then over here is a plastic little plastic thing, really difficult to show because it's of course clear, but that is stuck over the battery, and you can also return it there, by the way, and if you're not going to use it for a while. Otherwise this remote will discharge your battery a little faster. So just, pull it out and then just put it somewhere. Do not unplug this cord. Okay, make sure this cord is plugged in. And what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and grab a screen that let's see, which one was it? We'll just add a window, and I want to add that one. Okay, hit OK. So now you can see, I'm going to make this a little bigger. Do you see these numbers right here? So if I hit the down arrow, see, it has different code. OK has different code. Left has different code, or these numerical ones. Okay, so basically you're testing if this is talking to your robot. Okay, so that's about that one. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, and we're going to turn on this video. Okay, so I'm going to stop for now. I uploaded a sketched infrared remote car. So basically you control this robot just by using this remote. Okay, here's an example. If you're going to go, let's see, there we go. That turns one way. second different way, you can hit OK, which just shuts it off. By the way, that's, you know. Then if you're gonna go sideways, and then you can go the other way, and so on and so forth. So just play with it on the floor and put some obstacles and make sure that it stops. Okay. I uploaded a obstacle avoidance. It's number 13 something, and basically as soon as it detects something up front like this, then it will look around and see if there is a way to go. Now it's not perfect, you know, because this is not, you know, this is a $50 unit, you know. You basically, these wheels are sometimes that expensive by themselves, you know, so this is an incredible deal. What I would say is simply that you can basically it will avoid most of the stuff and work correctly, but so sometimes it gets stuck, you know. So, but that's normal, and you can improve this program, this sketch, and make it your own. They're just showing you how they did it and to test it and so on and so forth. Okay, and there's also text in here that I put my own text in there, which is really simple to do. Alrighty, so that's also tested. And now I uploaded the LED 28 ES, whatever it's called, 2812, WS 2812, and it cycles through colors. That's all it does. So it looks nice when it drives. And then if you get into the Arduino programming, and there are many tutorials, okay, on the internet, so you can, for free, you know, there are also the ones you can buy. Then you can learn how to maybe add things, okay? Like for instance, on the one I assembled earlier, I added this, let me push this one aside, you can see it. So I put an extra ring of 24 LEDs, and I added them to the program, so now when this is changing colors, it changes the ones on the front as well. I basically cheated. I did a little piggy bank on it. So anyway, as you can see, you can do all kinds of things and have some fun. Now you have the basics down, and you have a robot that actually works. All the parts I've tested. The only thing I have not tested yet, as of today, is there's a Wi-Fi, so you can control this that way as well. And there's an app you download to your phone, and then you install it with an app installer. And I might have to make a video how to do that. And then you can use the phone with the screen, and it has way more things that this robot can do as soon as you have the phone app installed and synced to this robot. So I hope that this will do for the video, and if you have any questions, you can always send a question to them as well, because they do have on this card that came with all of these, there is a email address. It's COKOINO@outlook.com. So you can actually ask them. Sometimes it takes a few days for them to respond, but they do respond, unless they are on some kind of a holiday, or then whatever the holiday is over, then but they just had one here a week ago or two, and so I don't expect them to have another one this week. Well, enjoy yourself, learn, have fun, and send me somewhere wherever your video is going to be about this robot doing all kinds of things. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a great day.